Hi guys, I'm Ivory and welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be doing a back to school look using all drugstore makeup. If you are part of the beauty sphere, then you know there is a difference between using the word drugstore and affordable. To me, affordable means that it's affordable, but you can't necessarily find it at, say, a drugstore such as CVS, Myers, Target, Rite Aid, Walgreens, that type of situation. So I made sure all of the products that I use today can be found at the drugstore, because the way I see it, most people that are starting school, they might not be able to drive yet, so it seems less likely that your parents are going to take you to like an Ulta or a Morphe store. It's probably easier to get in the car with your parents and go to the grocery store, and then while they're getting food, you can just go to the makeup aisles and get your makeup there. Before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every single week, and also be sure to follow me on my social media. Everything is _ivorycherry. I did want to talk about brushes because I do think that's important when also buying your makeup. You need brushes. Some really cheap ones are the ones from Wet n Wild. They usually have pink hair at the top and then they are white. You go to the Dollar Tree and they will have a bunch of them and they do an amazing job. Another great one that I really like is e.l.f. They are also $1. All the white ones from e.l.f. are usually $1. If not, they are still very cheap. And if you are intimidated by individual brushes and you want a kit, I will link two that I really like. They are both on Amazon, unfortunately. The first one is the BS Mall brushes. There are different sets, but there's a 14 set one for like 8 to 10 bucks. Very cheap. Quality is amazing. They're very soft. I still have them to this day and it's been maybe 5 years. And then the second set that I really like are the Bestope brushes. Those are a bestseller on Amazon. Another one that I really like is the BH Cosmetics Marble Luxe set. Again, just like the other two sets, they have both face brushes and eye brushes. Wait for them to go on sale because I think I saw them go on sale 30 to 40% off, and it equates to about $2 per brush. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of the applicators for your makeup. So let's get into actually applying makeup. I first wanted to start off by using moisturizer, which is something that I rarely talk about on this channel. It's more like a skincare thing, but I have been using moisturizers in lieu of primers. I'm gonna be honest, out of all the products that I mentioned, I think primer is the least important. I currently use the Neutrogena oil-free moisturizer. This has SPF 15. During the day, I like a very thin moisturizer, and then at night, I'll go for a thicker moisturizer. So this one's a pretty good one. I actually prefer this one by Neutrogena. It's the one with the pink label. It says for combination skin. This one is way more watery, and when I apply it, it absorbs into the skin within like 10 seconds, so you could just apply foundation right after. And another one that I've really been liking is the Pixi H2O skin drink. This is actually a gel. What I like to do is put this in my refrigerator, and then in the morning I'll put it on and it gives like a cooling sensation, kind of like, you know, Clean and Clear's cleanser, the morning burst ones where you just feel awake. And again, it is a very thin consistency, and I especially suggest you put on moisturizer if you have acne prone skin like me. You know, when I'm exfoliating at night with my little brush, or if you're picking at it, then the skin on top of your acne is usually kind of crusty. So putting on a moisturizer will make the skin on top of your acne a little less crusty, so hence your foundation will look better on top of it. And once my moisturizer is on, I'm gonna move on to foundation because like I said, I don't think primer is necessary. I have a couple of recommendations. I'm not gonna be this obnoxious about every single category here, but I like to think that I am a foundation connoisseur. I love foundation. It is my favorite step. I think even if one day my skin was clear and my scars have healed and everything is even, I think I'll still always love foundation. So if you have oily skin or acne prone skin, this is specifically for you. So the first one I'm going to recommend is the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir. This has SPF in it. It also has vitamins and an antioxidant. So I feel like while you're clogging your pores, you're also kind of helping your skin. It is very full coverage, and out of all the drugstore foundations that I'm going to recommend, this one lasts the longest on me. The next one is the Maybelline Superstay. This is again full coverage. It has a satin matte finish. Sorry, I forgot to say the CoverGirl it's not a satin matte. It has a little bit of luminosity to it, but I powder down all my foundations so that they start out kind of matte. But when you just apply this and don't set it, you will have some type of glow to it. But this one will be a satin matte finish if you don't powder it down. The next one is the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made Foundation. This is a very matte foundation. It's also transfer resistant. I would say at first it's a medium coverage, but it's definitely buildable. pencil. The next one is the oddball because this is usually something that I would not like, but somehow I do. This one is the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Foundation. It has SPF 50, antioxidants, and pollution protection. This is very liquidy. It comes out very sheer at first, but because it is so thin, you can put on like 3 layers and build it up quite nicely. The finish of this is quite luminous on me at first, and I would say out of all my foundations though, this one looks the least cakey and the least makeup-y, if that makes sense. So that is why I really like this. This is great for a no makeup type of look. And lastly is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. I had mixed feelings about this at first because I think it broke me out, but then I started mixing it into my foundations so that my skin could get used to it. And then slowly but surely it got acclimated to the foundation, so it doesn't break me out anymore. I'm actually going to use this one today. This is in the shade Desert Beige. And to blend it out, I'm using my Juno & Co microfiber sponge. And if you don't care about adding dimensions to your face, like adding concealer and, you know, bringing forward parts of your face with highlight, then I would say add concealer under your eyes so that everything is even. But I am going in with concealer today, but like I said, if you don't care about bringing forward parts of your face, then just apply the foundation everywhere. For concealer, I'm going in with the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This is in the shade Medium Beige. I have to mix it in with my Maybelline Age Rewind because this is not the right shade for me. But if I had to pick of the two, I would go in with the e.l.f. one. It is way more full coverage. And I'm also going to use the concealer to prime my eyes as well. Okay, so now that my creams are down, I'm going to set my entire face. So where I added concealer, I'm going in with the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder. I love the way this looks. They just don't make this in my color for like foundation because it will lighten up your foundation. I wish they came out with a translucent one, but who knows? Maybe one day. There's still time. But for the rest of my face, I'm using the Coty Airspun. This is my tried and true. I've gone through 2 of these, so this is my 3rd one. If I had to choose between the 2, that's hard. I don't know, because they're the same price, but you get so much more product. Like this one, you get 0.7 ounces, and this one you get 2.3 ounces. So I guess for the most bang for your buck, go in with Coty Airspun, but just be aware of the fragrance. I warn every single person about the fragrance, and they're always like, oh, okay, yeah, I know, okay. And then they actually smell it, and they're like, wow, I thought I could handle it, and I can't. I should have taken you more seriously, Ivory. So just know that this has a very perfumey type of smell. You know what's really funny? I didn't start wearing foundation until maybe like junior, senior year of high school. And I always used a powder because I thought that the liquid would clog my pores. But I know for a fact that I never really matched my neck or even my face because I always picked the shade Ivory. I just thought maybe my mom named me after a foundation so that I would never forget what my foundation shade is. So I always got Ivory. It was always way too light, and I kept doing it for I don't know how long. I'm gonna move on to my brows. I'm using the Maybelline Brow Define and Fill Duo. One side is a sponge and then one side is the actual pencil. You would think that this sponge side is useless, but it's actually very useful because then I don't go too heavy at the front of my brows. I use this part for the front of my brows and it creates like a really nice shadow, so it kind of just ensures that it doesn't get too Sharpie-like. Whereas if I use the pencil, I can go a little bit too heavy-handed. Like you see, I just dab it in a little bit and it just fills them in so nicely. You get a little bit of spoolie and it creates like a really nice gradient. So I actually really enjoy the sponge side. I thought it was stupid at first, but now I get it. To contour, I'm using the Maybelline Face Contouring Kit, and what I like is that there's a blush and a highlight, so you don't have to get separate products for a blush and highlight. It's just all here, so you save a little bit of time because all you have to do is get a new brush and dip into your blush and highlight, or you could use the same brush for all of that, but you do save a little bit of time and money not having to buy each of these products individually. So I am going in with the contour shade, and I'm going to do only my forehead and my nose actually, but I'm not gonna do it on my jawline and I'm not gonna do it on my cheekbones like I usually do. Contour looks really good on camera, but in person, I will admit you can see it. You can see that bar of brown. In person, it doesn't look great, and especially if you're not good at it, maybe now is not the time to be trying it unless you've like practiced a little bit better. But I will say that I do it on camera, but lately off of camera when I'm going to see friends, I skip it. And I'm gonna add just a little bit to my nose. Be really careful about this. Where I add concealer, it's just like a bar right here of just like a lighter shade than the rest of my face. So I feel like adding a little bit of bronzer kind of adds a little bit of darkness in this strip of concealer. And even though I could use this blush here, I am gonna try a different one. So I'm going in with the Milani Rose Petal blush. This is in Romantic Rose, I believe. This is a matte blush. I love this one. You do have to do a little bit of work, like you kind of have to really rub it in. And if you want an even cheaper one, the Wet n Wild Color Icon ones, super duper cheap. They are a little bit kind of dinky and they are very powdery, so beware of that, but the color payoff is there. And lately, whenever I'm doing my makeup just at my vanity, I just apply blush because I feel like it makes it more youthful. And also adding just blush and no contour, it's just, you're less likely to make a mistake. So if you are in a rush, you're about to miss the bus, this is kind of foolproof. And then for the eyes, I'm going in with the Wet n Wild eyeshadow palettes. This is the Not a Basic Peach eyeshadow palette. For 10 shades, this is $5. So I don't think it's gonna get cheaper anywhere else. I want to save you a little bit of money wherever you can. I also really like the City Mini palettes. That one's really good, but that one's $10 for like 5 shades. I feel like out of all the palettes, this is the cheapest per eyeshadow, if that makes sense. I'm gonna start off with the first shade, and I'm just gonna kind of reset my lid. And then with the same brush, I'm using this orange shade, and that is gonna be our transition shade. And I like to focus it on the outer end of my eye, and then once most of the pigment is down, that is when I start moving it upwards and inwards. And then with my Sigma E44 brush, I'm gonna go into the last shade, and I'm gonna do pretty much the exact same motion except lower. Like, it's not gonna go past my crease. These shadows are surprisingly good. Like, where have these been all my life? Where was this when I was in school? I remember my senior year is when I actually started to play with eyeshadow. I know it's like I was 18, so I was very late in the game, but I remember what I used. It was like by Pixie, and it was magnetic. So like the first layer was blushes, and then the second layer was eyeshadows, and it was a quad. So there were 4 of them, hence why it's called a quad. And I remember using that. And in high school, first of all, I was not popular whatsoever, but the people I hung out with were relatively popular. Like my boyfriend and my best friend at my high school, think of them as like the Channing Tatum for 22 Jump Street, and I was Jonah Hill. I was the loser that just tagged along, and everyone associated me with my friend or my boyfriend. And it got to a point where people reached out to me to get to that person. So my friend, her name was Pam, and she was awesome. I remember people would come up to me like, hey, can you tell Pam that she left her sweater in my car? And I'm just like, yeah, I'll pass it on to her. Or I'd be walking to be like, Ivory! And I'm like, oh my God, someone actually wants to talk to me. And they'd be like, do you know where your boyfriend is? And I'm just like, he's in algebra. So yeah, that was pretty much my 4 years of high school. I'm next gonna go into this gold shade, and I'm just gonna use my finger, and I'm gonna apply that to the first third of my eye. Oh my God, that's pretty. Wow, I like that. And then with a small detail brush, I'm gonna go into this like super dark chocolatey shade, and I'm just gonna smoke out the outer V a little bit more. This step isn't necessary. If you in a rush, skip this, and I would just do the orange and the gold. Like that, I'd be good to go. I know that when I went back to school, the first week is the easiest to wake up because you're excited to meet everyone. But once you're caught up, I don't give a shit about waking up early and looking pretty. I'd rather sleep. This extraness will only happen day 1 through 3, and then the rest, I don't care. All right, and then with the same fluffy brush that I applied this orange shade right here, I'm gonna dip into it again, and I'm gonna pinch the bristles, and I'm just gonna smoke out my lower lash line. For mascara, I'm using the Maybelline Colossal Mascara. I personally like mascaras that are lengthening and separating. I don't really care about thickening and volume necessarily. My favorite one is the L'Oreal Telescopic. I like very skinny types of wands. And then my second favorite one is also by L'Oreal. L'Oreal knows what's up with mascaras. This is the Voluminous Lash Paradise. It is very similar to the Better Than Sex one. I like it better than the Better Than Sex one because this one doesn't smear on my lower lash line, and the Better Than Sex one does. This one is good, like I will get the length, but it just takes a little bit of work. With these, I'll see the results in the first coat, like it's very fast. This one takes a little bit more work. I'll see it in the second or third coat. And like the other ones, this also doesn't smear on my lower lash line. And I prefer getting mascaras that are not waterproof because they just come off easier when I'm taking off my makeup. And I am am going to highlight today. This is seriously my favorite highlighter out of all the ones I have. I actually don't have that many. I think I have only 3 or 4. This is the only one I think that matters though. This is the Physicians Formula Shimmer Strips one. Tati recommended this a long time ago and I bought it and I have no regrets. As you can see, it has so many colors, so there's a lot of variety. So if you are darker skinned, you can stick to like the bronzy and coppery shades. And then if you are medium skinned, or most people will pick like the champagne golden type of undertones. If you want a blush topper, there's a little bit of pinks here. I would highlight with this, and I would also put this on my lid. It's beautiful on the lids. Honestly, if you are looking to buy one to last you forever, this is it. So I'm gonna mix all of them together because I love all of them. And as you can see, it's just like a nice healthy glow. It's not glittery. I'm also gonna take like the champagne colors and highlight the tip of my nose and the bridge, as well as my inner corner and my brow bone. I'm gonna move on to lips. I'm using the Wet n Wild Catsuit liquid lipstick. This is in the shade Give Me Mocha. This is my perfect My Lips but better color. It's probably one of my favorite liquid lipsticks, so I'm very happy that it's also very cheap. But like, look, see? It's like my lips looked like a normal color, and then the minute I put this on, it looks like my lips were dead and they're revived. I am gonna go in with false lashes because some of you wanted me to do a little bit more glam, like not just a super simple look. I'm going in with the Ardell Faux Mink lashes. This is in the style 811. They will give you a little bit of oomph to the eyes and add a little bit of glamour, but they are by no means over the top. And then lastly, to set the face, I'm using the Milani Make It Last setting spray. I'm gonna be honest, out of all the categories, I probably know the least about setting sprays. So I will say this is nice, but I have yet to really fall in love with the setting spray at the drugstore. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. I don't actually think I have enough for even today, but we will see. Let's go. Okay, that sprayed really horribly. It was like sniper mode. It was just like a stream of water. So I'm gonna blend it with my sponge before it leaves little streaks. And this is the final look. I did want to add a couple more things. If you have oily skin, then I suggest getting blotting sheets. These are from Amazon. They are wonderful. I will link them in the description box below. So if during the day you get a little bit of shine, you just pat, 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 and you're good to go. Obviously, this is not a natural look. This is a very easy look to do, I would say. There are so many things that you could skip. For example, I skipped bronzer on my cheeks. I just added it on my forehead. If you like your forehead, skip it all together. If you have full brows, just use brow gel. Don't worry about filling them in. If you are on a time crunch with your eyes and you can't be bothered to add this many shadows, then maybe just get one and put it on the eyes, or even just add the bronzer into your eyes, or blush. I put blush on my eyes all the time just so that they don't look super naked. You don't need false lashes every single day. This is kind of like the first day you're coming back and you want to be seen. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and feel free to comment down below what other types of videos you'd like to see from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.